welcome to Price Cues. Today we're going to see how to predict trendline breakouts. Welcome back, I'm Sharyu. Before we move on, please do not forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook and do subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss another video from us. Now, let's get started. Before we move on, in the previous video, we discussed what a trend is, how to identify a trend and how to draw trend lines. So if you haven't watched that video, please click on the I button or the link in the description box and watch that video first before we move on. Now, let's continue the video further ahead and get into the charts. Now, before we get into details, let's understand how the breakouts actually occur with a simple basic example. Now, as you can see over here, please bear with my drawing. You can see a house with a door and the mountains and trees, but let's just ignore that for now. Let's assume there's a bag of gold inside the house, but the house is locked and the only way you can get into the house is through the door. But the door is locked too. So now, you being a person, let's say Mr. A, you want to enter into the house so that you can get the bag of gold. Okay, you're not a thief. Let's say it's just your house and you're just locked out. Okay. Now you want to enter into the house. What are you going to do? You don't have the key and the door is locked. So what a rational person will do will try to either break the lock or try to push, kick it, maybe punch it, or maybe go a little far and then run towards the door and try to break it. So ultimately, by trying to hit it several times, you'll finally be able to break the door and enter. So all I'm trying to say is that if you want to enter the house, you have to try and punch and break the door so that you can enter. Hold on to that thought and you'll understand what I'm trying to explain. I know it sounds kiddish, but bear with me. Holding on to the concept of the door, let's just understand that in the context of stock market. In stock market, we have two types of doors. We have one which is the resistance and one which is the support. Now, a resistance, as the name suggests, is something that stops or blocks the stock from moving ahead. So this line over here is the resistance, or let's say the door, that is stopping the stock from going up, while support gives the stock some kind of blockage to fall down. Let's understand this in more detail with an example. Let's say the stock is somewhere here and this is our door with the doorknob. Now, if the stock wants to knock this door, this resistance off, what do you think it's going to do? It'll try moving towards it. Do you think it's going to knock the door off in the first trial, in the first punch? Of course not. It might come down, try to go up again, try to kick it, punch it, kick it, punch it, and then maybe go a little further so that it can get more power to push it through. Maybe just kick it a bit more and then probably cross it. This is exactly what happens with stocks. Whenever a stock wants to cross a resistance, it'll try to spend as much time near the resistance to make it weak so that it can cross it. I hope you're understanding what I'm trying to explain. Basically, if you want to knock a door off, you're going to have to punch it and push it and kick it and do all sorts of things so that the door breaks off, falls, so that you can go through it. The same thing happens over here. This entire line or even a zone acts as a strong door. So in order to break the door, you'll have to spend a lot of time punching it, pushing it, kicking it so that the door gets weak and you can pass through it. Support over here again is the door that we are trying to knock off so that we can go down. Now again, if a stock wants to go down, it'll first try to go through the support, will not be able to cross it, move ahead, try to cross it again, move ahead, cross it again, kick it, punch it, maybe go even further. And and then probably with even more force try to break the door, spend some more time because it's gathering some energy, and then try to push through. So as you can see, for this stock to either break the support or the resistance, it needs to spend time near it. The more time it spends near the support or the resistance, the more chances it has to break it. So, for example, if a stock is going through a channel or a range, the more time it spends near either of the side, the more likely it is going to break it. Now, let's see some real examples with different type of stocks and see how the stocks have reacted near the support or resistance. Okay, so here's the first example. As you can see, the stock was continuously touching the support, which was around 740 to 750 in this case. You can see how many times it tries to break this support. We could count these as well, but they haven't really entered the zone, so I'm not going to consider them. So the stock had already tested the support 3 times and then started spending a lot of time in the entire zone. If a stock wants to break a certain level, which in this case is the support, it will spend more time near it. So as you can see, the stock first tried to break it, could not. Tried again, could not. Tried the third time but still could not break the support. Then it spent a lot of time near the support and then went for one last outer push and then pushed through and broke down. So as you can see, if a stock wants to break a certain level, it will spend a lot of time near it and might even go for that one last long push to eventually break the level. Another thing to note is that the longer the stock spends time near a support or a resistance, the stronger the breakout is. So whenever you see a stock halting at a certain level, it is almost sure that the stock is about to break it with a strong and firm breakout. So you can either enter once the breakout happens, which is right here, or wait for the breakout to retest the level and then enter, which in this case, as you can see, it gave a strong breakout on the downside, went up again to test the zone and is now trying to go back even further. In this example, as you can see, the stock of SBI was getting strong resistance on the upper end near the 200 level. You can see how many times the stock was near the level but could not break it. Again, this is our door where the stock is trying to punch it, push it, kick it to break and go through. In the very end, you can see how much time the stock had to spend near the resistance level to actually break it. While in the previous examples, you can see the stock is barely touching the level and then moving back down. But when it was actually ready for the breakout, you can see how it halted near the resistance line and then gave a huge breakout. Let's see another example. As you can see, this stock is continuously getting a resistance in this zone and it has tried to push above, could not, tried to push, could not, tried to push, could not. And as you can see, it even formed a small head and shoulder pattern, gave a breakout, came down, went again up, tried to break the level, could not, went further, went up again, spent time in the zone, and there you go. So you see, if a stock is continuously halting at a level, up and down, it is more likely to cross that level. And this works for both support and resistance. So anytime you find a stock that has been halting near the support or near the resistance, it has higher chances of breaking that particular resistance or support. Most of the times when a stock is stuck in a narrow range, before it tries to give a breakout and it spends some time near the support or resistance, it goes away from the particular support or resistance. In this case, it's resistance. It goes away from the resistance where the novice trader thinks that the stock has again received a resistance over here and shorts the stock to let it go till here, only to face a failure, because ultimately this last blowout is just so that the stock has enough power to push through the level. But just to be on the safer side, one should always trade such breakouts once they've gotten a decisive breakout from the trend line, or in this case, the resistance. Now, as we understood how breakouts occur in resistance and support, the same thing happens with trend lines. If a stock is continuously trying to touch the trend line and spends a lot of time near the trend line, it is likely to break the trend line. For an uptrend, the stock might take support or multiple times before actually giving a breakout. This again depends on the time frame that you're using. That's it for today's video. Please do not forget to like, comment, share and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss another update from us. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more. See you next time. Bye.